Cryptio coin here, bringing you a new ICO. This ICO is not a lending platform. It's actually a token that you might want to keep for long terms. The ICOs that I've been um, introducing to you guys have been lending platforms, which are almost like short-term investments where you invest for a few months and then you reap in the interest, and then if you would like to reinvest, you can. If not, then you exit and you invest in other platforms. This right here is a winding tree. I thought it was a good token to go over. It's on the Ethereum network, and it is trying to replace those giants in the travel industry. So I'm gonna read you go over the white paper right here. I'm just gonna read the forward because I think it has a lot of great. It has a great introduction to what I'm gonna go over, and you can decide whether to continue to watch it, or just switch off. Hopefully, you continue to watch it. The travel industry is dominated by a handful of companies, which, through market power and industry politics, have created a highly concentrated market. They are able to charge superior margins, cause double marginalization, and in some cases simply collect rent. Rent collection and superior margins inflate the cost of supply, with consumers ultimately bearing the artificially increased cost. The consolidated nature of the travel distribution platform creates a situation where the intermediaries have no incentive to use new technologies. Instead, they spend resources on locking their customers into using systems that were in some cases created decades ago. Current This is kind of trying to change the industry, the travel industry, and we're going to just go over here. I have just highlighted things that were important. I'm not going to go through the whole white paper, and that's why most people don't read the white papers. But hopefully, you can make a decision based on what the information that I've collected. So, the problem is particularly acute for travel startups, the main sources of innovation in the sector. So, there's no room for new startups or people that want to create a system so that they can benefit its customers. Um, just by them starting out like that, even though this ICO sounds great, they're going to need a lot of support because these whales of travel, they're like Price Line, um, Expedia, they're going to give them a hard time. So it says five. Okay, so it says right here, five companies in the travel industry control most of the travel market. The two largest online travel agencies, Priceline Group and Expedia, control 95% of the online travel market in the US. So they're going to have to fight these guys right here. So these dominated players lack the economic incentives to innovate because there are only two major intermediate intermediaries in the hotel sector and three in the airline sector. So it says right here they're overcharging customers, and here are the references if you guys want to see it. Um, they're using old technology of mainframe computers and software that was written a long time ago. Here it says these companies tend to use their position on the market to extract rent, as shown by the recent U.S. Airways versus Sabri lawsuits. I hope I'm saying that right. So they're accusing them of overcharging customers when U.S. Airways was trying to give them a fair price. And then it says making hotels legally liable to provide the what is that? Online travel agencies with the best rates at all times, and causing a breach of contract if they offer direct booking customers a cheaper rate. So not only are the the airline and the hotel companies and industries suffering, so are we, because we are getting a higher rate than these companies can offer us. See, although this is illegal, it's still done. So again, I just put this here. Online travel agencies, they charge a small charge of 25% commission. So pretty much the even though they're charging them 25% commission, the cost kind of goes to us. We have to pay for that cost. So let's see. So they have just going over some, let's see, operate in correction. So this is just trust third parties have hoarded the data. So another problem is the only reason why other companies haven't come in to provide customers better options is because they've hoarded the data, and so they can't really open their doors in a more educated way because the data is not available for them. It says trusted third parties that hoard the data of their customers have always had security holes. In 2017 along, we've seen a number of successful hackers attacks on systems that should be unhackable, like Sabri and Equifax. When one master password has access to the database that contains millions of, well, anyways, this is saying that the systems for your information is not safe, so they can provide that. It says Wintry is a decentralized, like most tokens and coins network, and this is a network connects buyers and sellers via a set of smart contracts and open source tools in a non-rent seeking manner without taking a transaction fee. So the savings will be passed down to us. It says Wintry will not charge suppliers any distribution fees and will only charge a minuscule transaction fee to incentivize miners to give computational power to the network. The fees will be automatically calculated by a blockchain at the time of transaction and will have no correlation with total booking price or complexity. So network to make multiple transactions. So one of our development goals is to build a state channel on top of the public blockchain in order for participants of the network to make multiple thousands of transactions per second. Travel industry transactions require this level of speed. So how sometimes prices change. This will take care of you getting the best price for whatever bookings you want for hotel or air, or I think that's it. So it also, you can also use it to bundle things. For example, airfare, a car, if you want to rent a car, if you need a hotel. Wintry's code is open source and completely transparent for anyone to study and propose changes. So for example, if the smart contract is not doing this job, or it's not benefiting the user, anyone can look at this open source code and propose a change to it so that it could benefit all parties. We use public key cryptography to ensure that no one but the parties immediately involved in the transaction can see the details. So there's a lot of great security there. Today's booking on international flights involves a multi-currency transaction which can span a handful of countries for a simple flight. So here, the cost of having a international flight will be minimized just because you don't have to change different currencies. All parties will be using the same one currency. So Wintry solves this problem by using blockchain technology to remove extensive currency conversion from the travel booking process, and that saving goes on to the customer. Under today's architecture, the travel industry bears a very high cost of verification. So they even minimize the verification cost. So the traveler's information is passed on. So blockchain instead allows for costless verification. So instead of all these fees to verify, pay merchants, booking airlines, border control agencies, everything is costless. So again, the customer ends up saving on that too. So it's not only good for the providers and the travel agents, it's also good for the customers. Windtree connects suppliers, hotels, airlines, etc., and sellers, travel agencies to single marketplace. Suppliers will put availability and price information into database where it is easily discoverable by seller. Sellers then have the ability to buy that inventory and pay for it instantly. All these interactions are designed to be performed automatically without human intervention. Once again, that eliminates mistakes, and it eliminates cost, and it eliminates time for the transaction to go through. So all transactions are encrypted, and that also makes things more secure. So the token is going to be fueled in, it's an ERC20 token, which means it's in the Ethereum network. So due to the need for travel companies to send more information than typically handled by smart contract, we have had, they had a typo here, expanded the Lyft token to be able to handle more data than a typical ERC20 token while still remaining full compatibility with ERC20 standards. So this is what the code looks like. So this is an example. So let's say PMS1, which is a property management system. So that's what they're calling it. PMS1 has a balance of 5 lifts. A hotel manager would like to make 10 rooms in the hotel available for May 1st to May 31st for the price of $100 per night. One transaction with all that information is dispatched, and along with it a fee of 0.01 lifts to send to Winding Tree. Now the hotel has its inventory on Winding Tree platform, so they only have to pay once for all of those rooms. And then it says the only time that the travel agent has to pay for this booking is when they're actually going to order the room for the customer. So here's a little graph showing how it's going to work, the travel agency. So this is they search, there's no cost in that. The only cost that there is in the purchase for the travel agent. The hotel will be paying for the to list it, and the hotel and then the travel agent will be paying if it is purchased. So here's the hotel. They're going to send a token, and the travel agent is going to send a token if it's purchased. Here's a breakdown of what is being transacted in each step. So PMSI, that's the person that is showing what's available. For example, the hotel rooms. So the data room availability price, the fee is 0.01 lifts. So that's how much they pay. Search is going to be free. The purchase is going to be data. So it's going to be room and guest information. Price is going to be 100 lifts, and the fee is going to be 0.02 lifts. So that means that the price of the hotel lifts is going to be 100. At the end of these series of transactions, the TA, so the travel agent balance, is decreased by 100.02, and the PMS, which is the property management personnel, spent only 0.01 and gained 100 lifts. You can't beat that. At the same time, 0.03 lifts went towards the miner that confirms these transactions by putting them in the next blockchain. So 0.02 and then 0.01 is 0.03 for the miner that come from these transactions. So these fees, of course, are hypothetical. It might go up, it might go down. The actual fee amounts will be automatically calculated by the marketplace on the time of transaction. For example, right now, if they said that it would be one Ethereum, right now Ethereum is almost $1,000. Before, Ethereum was only like $20. So it depends on how the market is. They're going to use decentralized autonomous organization. So the solution is to create new smart contracts and have the winding tree decentralized autonomous organization store at least a list of these contract addresses. Whenever there is a need to update one of the smart contracts, any user of the platform that has made at least 10 transactions will be able to create a proposal for that change with a new smart contract logic, back it up with an explanation for the change and data to support it and other details. So that means that this contract is going to be peer-to-peer. So a peer is going to recommend the change, and the peers are going to accept the change or decline it. Other participants of the network will be able to vote on the proposal, and when it gains enough votes for the change, the DAO index will be updated automatically within the predefined time frame. Token generated event. So this is what it's going to look like on Saturday. It's going to start February 1st, and it will last for 2 weeks. Token distribution, 75% will be for token generation event. 75% of participants will have stake on this, and then 20% will be for the founders, advisors, and employee pool. 5% will be long-term foundation budget. 1 Ethereum equals 10 lifts. So right now, it might be that it might not be 1 Ethereum because the price of Ethereum has gone up. So that might be a change on February 1st. Telling you how long. It says lift will be distributed over the course of 7 days after the end of the fundraiser. Maximum funds initially received by foundation, 10 million USD. Excessive funds will be put into a market validation mechanism that will allow, token generation event. Participants to withdraw a part of their contribution anytime by sending their lifts to the MVM market validation mechanism. So this is a layout of how it's going to be redistributed. I went over that, just a graph showing that. And this is pretty much what's going to happen. Early contribution, stage 1 and stage 2 is already happening, but we can still get into week 1 and week 2. So it says, for this, like I said before right here, for this and all subsequent stages, the USD amounts will be recalculated in Ethereum based on data from CoinMarketCap. So there, of course, it's not going to be 1 Ethereum. That's going to be in a very expensive token. And right here, like I said before, 1 Ethereum equals 10 lifts. And then this is going to be the first week. The second week, 1 Ethereum will equal 9 lifts. And if they don't reach the 5 million that they propose in collecting for this ICO, they're going to return the money to the contributors. Here is for those of you that want to know how this is going to be scheduled. So the MVM will be operated upon depending on the amount of funds in the contract. If the contract has more than 40 million, it will have 4-year life span. For P equals 48 months. Otherwise, P equals 24 months. So here's a calculation of how it's going to go. And then this is just claimable funds, how there's a graph here showing how it's going to go. And this is a use of proceeds, which is foundation reserve 15%, 5% miscellaneous, 5% events, 5% legal, 50% projects, 10% operational expenses, and 10% marketing. And this is a roadmap. So 2017, that's already happened. We're in 2018. 2018 first quarter, integrating with hotel providers, opening source data exchange standards for hotels. They're going to pretty much test it, put it in testnet, so they're going to see how it works. Multi-signature integration in Lyft token wallet. Quarter 2 is going to be open source data exchange standards of airlines. So they're going to put in, so for quarter 1, they're going to have hotel providers. Second quarter, they're going to have airlines. The third quarter, they're going to have the contracts and the search engines. And the decentralized autonomous organization. And they're and first quarter of 2019, they're going to have it in exchange. So that's why I said this is a token that you're going to hold on to in the long term. This is not going to be one that you hold on for a few months and then either you reinvest or you move on to another investment. This is going to be a long-term token, and I want to present to you guys short-term tokens that are a little more riskier and long-term tokens that might yield you a little bit less, but they're a little more secure. As a platform scales, WindTree will start the development of state channel for blockchain design specifically for travel in order to handle a large volume of transaction. This will result in better search mechanisms and quicker payments. The development of user-facing applications like an application for smartphones that would unlock a hotel door. Wow, that's really good. Using a confirmed B2B transaction hash and a commitment to design, development, develop, produce, and contribute to the development of open source hardware for the travel industry, like point of sale systems, locks, terminals, and more. Wow. WindTree decentralized autonomous. And this is right here. This is a team. If you want, you can read about them by kind of looking them up. They all seem they're very active on social media. They are not advisors or a team that hides behind their white paper. You can look them up and see a little more of their credibility, but as I was searching for them, they look like they are legit for the most part. So this is let me read the conclusion. The conclusion is the travel industry is in a dire need of innovation and decentralization due to the variety of factors, including anti-consumer behavior of corporations, outdated infrastructure, and the business practice of influential travel companies which have little incentives to change the status quo. So all winding tree, all Winding Tree wants to do is just change that so all parties can benefit, not just one. So this is a conclusion to Winding Tree token and ICO, which will start February 1st. So check in. I'll have more ICOs and more news about cryptocurrency. This is Crypto Coins, and I hope you have a wonderful day.